So that was some winter storm that we had over the weekend. With it came a number of interesting social media videos that we've got to take a look at. There's post after post of people melting snow with lighters, claiming it smells like plastic, and that it's not turning into water, all of these different things, but all they're doing is just demonstrating scientific principles but coming to conspiratorial conclusions. There's a reason why the snow's not melting and why there's black stuff appearing on it, but they're going to the nefarious option instead of what's actually happening. So let's replicate this and explain what's really going on. If we take some of the snow, pick it up, try to melt it. Whoa, look at it, it turns black. Wow, incredible. It's not melting, whoa. Okay, there's a couple of things that we have to unpack here. In this lighter is a chemical called isobutene, which is comprised of carbon and hydrogen. In order to burn it, you need an oxidizer, which of course is oxygen, and naturally a couple of byproducts come out of this. We get water vapor, H2O, we get carbon monoxide, CO, and some leftover carbon. And in a perfect world, this normally gets turned into carbon dioxide, but we're not getting a perfect source of oxygen for this reaction. Thus, we get an incomplete final product. And this carbon is left over and is being deposited in the form of soot on the snow. Now, why did the snow not melt? I'm still sitting here with a bowl of snow, and it's been about 20 minutes in a room that's well above freezing, and yet there's still plenty of snow in this bowl. This can all be explained by the latent heat of fusion, which can be best described here in a graph. If we put temperature on this axis, and then heat, or energy that's being put into our system here, we can dispel a couple of things. So, your freezing point is 0 degrees Celsius, your boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. And as we are, down here in our solid state, we're adding heat, adding heat, but then there's a point where we transition. We need to turn into the liquid phase, right? Where the snow melts. Okay? But something interesting happens. We sit at this point for a while. We keep adding heat, but we're sitting at the same temperature. And then, we continue through the liquid phase as we continue to add more heat. Like when you're boiling water to cook your pasta, you notice that you sit on this edge for quite a while before you actually start boiling the water and it starts turning into water vapor. These transitional periods are critical, where there's heat being added to the system, but yet you still remain the same temperature. The same thing is happening with the snow. And snow naturally has insulative properties, so at the same time, it's distributing this heat as well as taking its sweet time to actually reach that point because more energy needs to enter the system in order to actually melt. So here we are in this room, or, adding fire to the system and it's not yet melting. You have to continuously apply a ton of heat into the snow because of its properties in order to reach that critical point of turning from a solid to a liquid. Still don't believe the snow? How about a spoonful of ice cream? It's the same idea when you're eating an ice cream cone in the middle of July. It's not going to melt instantaneously. It takes a while for the heat to transition the solid into a liquid, even when you're well above the point of freezing. Just a little bit of reading into these relatively basic scientific principles can completely dispel this snow conspiracy. The same thing can be said about contrails from airplanes, which I covered in a main channel video over on June 1st, which you can check out in the link in the description. If there's something that doesn't seem to make sense to you in this observed world, there's likely people that have already researched extensively about it and have written about it and explained it with scientific principles. It's always important to stay curious and ask questions, but the reasonable answers that you're looking for are not often in a social media algorithm. That's it for this one, folks. Stay curious and educated.